Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. So I have a confession. I stopped doing the 100-page day reading challenge and I read super slowly. After a few days, I still couldn't finish 100 pages. Since school is starting, hello classes, assignments, and all that stress and fun. I'm setting a new goal, 50 pages a day. Still a challenge, but way more doable. And I will update you with my daily progress. Now for the book selection, I'm stepping way out of my comfort zone. I've chosen two genres I normally avoid: thriller and mystery. The first book is Perfume by Patrick Süskind. This is a thriller. The second one is a mystery, Elena Knows by Claudia Piñeiro. My pronunciation probably is wrong. Both books are highly rated on Goodreads. But here is the thing. I usually stay far away from anything thriller or mystery. I'd always thought they'd be too intense, too scary, or just not for me. You know, I'm not one of those true crime podcast people. But I do believe in trying new things, especially when it comes to books. So this is me jumping into unfamiliar territory with an open mind. Will I fall in love with thrillers or mysteries? Or will I go running back to my comfort reads? Let's find out together. Right now, I'm on page 123, 46% of the first book, Perfume. I plan to do a full review once I've finished it, so I can give you my full thoughts. And yes, the 50-page a day reading challenge starts today.
Pressure from all over the place. They bring pressure from the middle, from the right, from the left, playing a zero blitz.
Last 10 years. And the movies don't count because it is unadaptable, in my opinion. I think it's because the language is too beautiful.
7 seconds left. So Pete Carroll trying to get the football back to his offense.
Stop Wedgemere. Now approaching Wedgemere. Now approaching Winchester Center.
So I just finished the Perfume by Patrick Süskind. This book took me a while. Actually, it took me about 2 weeks. Ever since school started, I haven't been able to read much. Most of the days I couldn't hit 50 pages. I think there were only one day that I actually reached that goal. Anyway, I wanted to share some of my thoughts on the book. Don't worry, I will try my best to avoid any spoilers. First of all, the main character is a French name. I don't know how to pronounce it correctly. Let's say Grenouille. He's honestly one of the most complicated characters I've read about. He grows up in a very hard environment. He's an orphan passed around from person to person and basically treated like a weird, unwanted wizard or creature. But he's also a total genius when it comes to scent, like really gifted. He can smell everything and anything in such crazy detail. The thing is that he doesn't really like people. He just wants to be alone whenever possible. Grenouille gets what he wants by chasing scents. literally. He's obsessed with collecting and recreating scents. You can see he enjoys the process more than the actual results. I feel like his hatred of people comes from how he was raised. No one ever really loved or accepted him. People who were supposed to care for him treated him like he was some kind of wizard or monster. Then there is Baldini, the perfume shop owner who takes him in for a while. Baldini is kind of a fraud. He doesn't have any real talent in making perfume and just copies others' work. He's super anxious about people finding out he's not the genius he pretends to be. I thought that was an interesting contrast to Grenoia, who is a genius but totally antisocial. At one point, Grenoia leaves Paris and disappears into the mountains. He feels like people have been controlling him his whole life, and he wants to be free of all that. There is one quote from the book: "You could live in this world devoid of humanity." He finds this isolated mountain and just isolates himself completely. No people, no light, no sound. He spends over 20 hours a day in total darkness. He basically lives in his own inner world, surrounded by the sense he's memorized. It's kind of like how we get lost in books, like escaping reality by diving into a fantasy world. Speaking of scent, the book is full of it. There are so many unique and weirdly specific descriptions of smells. Caramel, pancake, soaked in milk, the smell of baby feet being compared to stone. This reminded me of something that I once heard. Someone described their cat as sun-fried quilt. So of course I smelled my cat after that. This one right there. And yeah, weirdly accurate. If you are into perfume or just curious about the process of making it, this book might be interesting for you. There is a lot of information about how scents are made and combined. It's pretty immersive. For the writing of the book, it has a kind of mysterious vibe, even though it's kind of a murder story. It doesn't feel like a typical thriller. The first death comes out of nowhere. It's sudden and quiet, and there is no big build up. It just happens. That really surprised me. You only start to piece everything together at the very end of the book. It keeps you guessing. So, how did I feel about the book overall? Honestly, I didn't love it. It's beautifully written and super unique, but it just wasn't my kind of story. I don't regret reading it though. It was definitely an experience. Now I'm moving to my second book, Elena Knows. I'm hoping it helps me get into my reading rhythm. I've got classes, assignments, projects. Life is busy, but I'm trying to make time to read whenever I can, even if it's just a few pages here and there. Thanks for listening to my ramble. I'm going to continue reading the second book. I will probably talk to you after I finish the book. Bye.
going over an ocean made it very easy. Third.
那你现在也别天天吃饭呀。找你的手机的。绕这个湖。啊，对。
I finished reading Elena Knows. The book tells a story of a mother, Elena, who is also the main character, and a Parkinson's patient. She's determined to find the truth behind her daughter Rita's death, which everyone else has dismissed as a suicide. Elena refuses to believe this explanation. She knows that Rita would never have gone to a church on a rainy day because of her intense fear of thunderstorms. So she's convinced that it couldn't have been a suicide. In her search for answers, Elena visits Isabel, a friend of her daughter, hoping for support. But the conversation takes an unexpected turn. What Elena thought she knew begins to unravel. Through Isabel, she learns difficult truths about her daughter, how Rita had to care for her daily, how their interactions often involved arguments and even humiliation. As both a Parkinson's patient and a mother, Elena is portrayed as helpless and trapped, just as her daughter may have felt. The novel ultimately reveals how little we sometimes understand the people closest to us, despite believing we know them well. It's a sad, haunting story about illness, grief, and the painful complexities of love and dependency. So yeah, that wraps up my little detour into the world of thrillers and mysteries. Perfume was intense, unsettling, and deeply atmospheric, but ultimately not really for me. Elena Knows hit differently. It was quieter, more emotional, and surprisingly introspective. Even though I didn't fully stick to the 50 pages a day goal, I still managed to finish 2 books I probably would have never picked up otherwise. The whole challenge reminded me that it's okay to read slowly, to not love every book, and to take breaks when life gets busy. The important thing is to keep reading, even if it's just a few pages at a time. I will be back soon with more updates, maybe a new challenge or just a cozy reading vlog. If you have read either of the books or have recommendations for what I should try next, definitely drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Okay, I will see you in the next one. Bye.